Hi, I'm Aldwyn Altuney, and I'm very excited today to be interviewing the wonderful Tippi Hedren in just a moment. I am right now at the Shambala Big Cat Preserve, which is in Acton in the LA County. And I'm just going to flip over here and show you this amazing place here, which has some big cats right outside the window right here. Here we go. Okay, there's a big cat right there. There he is. She. Oh, there she is. Okay. There's a female big cat. Here's the lovely Tippi Hedren, and I'm just going to show you just briefly what setting we're in here. Over here, we've got some very funky people over here as well. Hello, we've got James here. And hello, we've got a relative here.
Yeah, that's my niece Heidi.
Niece Heidi as well. Mm-hmm. And back to the lovely Tippi Hedren, who has just released a wonderful book called Tippi. Here it is right here. And you did a book signing last night.
I did.
Could you tell us a bit about that, please, Tippi?
It was held in Westwood, California. And it was at a theater. And it was packed. And I practically got writer's cramp from signing the books. It was really wonderful.
That's fantastic.
I'm enjoying this so much because I've had an incredible life that I loved writing the book, and I think it turned out well, and I hope you run right out and buy it.
Excellent.
I think you'll like it.
And where can people get a copy of the book?
Bookstores.
Okay.
Yeah.
Check all good bookstores.
All good bookstores.
All right. And this has your whole life story. And, of course, there was the birds screening last night, which people love. Of course, people know you for being attacked by all those crows way back then in the Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Ravens.
Oh, ravens, not crows.
No.
Okay, ravens. Okay, so can you explain the difference? Because in Australia we say crows. So can you explain to?
There are different. There are crows and there are ravens.
Okay.
But the raven is a very magnificent bird, and they're big and they're shiny and they're really. They have a great personality. And they're very busy. And we have a huge flock of raven who live at the Shambala Preserve, which is ironic, I think. I think they did that because I'm here.
You must have put your energy out there.
Yes, I did.
So, Shambala, how did this all come about? How many big cats do you have here?
About 33 at the moment. We have had up to close to 100. But I was very lucky in getting a bill passed. I think it was 2008. It was titled Big Cats and Public Safety Protection Act, which was to stop the interstate traffic of the exotic feline to cross state lines. And because there were so many animals that were being born to be somebody's pet or for financial gain, and it was not a good thing, because so many times people would see this adorable, darling little lion or tiger cub that you can hold in your hand who becomes 600 pounds. And, some people don't even look into what kind of puppy they buy as to how big that animal is going to be and what are the requirements for that animal. And We did a movie about the issue of the big cats, and we talked to so many of the trainers of these lions and tigers, Hollywood lions and tigers, and when they read the script, they said, I don't have enough cats to do this movie. I will let my cat work with a cat it doesn't know because of it's easy for me to say, instinctive dictates to fight. So, get your own animals to do the movie. Well, that's a romantic notion, but that is what we did. And we started with a little lion cub, and then a little tiger cub, and pretty soon I had 5 little lions and tigers running around my house in Sherman Oaks, which is against the law. And they are also a one-man demolition crew. So it was not a good idea. One day, one of the little lions grew enough to look over the fence, and the neighbor looked up and said, "That's a lion." And she busted us. And those civil servants get up early, 6 o'clock in the morning, pounding on the door, asking to see our little lions, and I went and got the littlest one, and I said, it's not going to be here very long. He said, got that right, lady. You've got 24 hours to get them off the property. And we knew about this place, which was owned by a man who had Hollywood acting animals. And he had lion and tiger and a couple of others. And we asked if we could board our little lions here. Well, then pretty soon a lot of people heard about us, that we would accept these animals. And that's how the Shambala Preserve became alive. And it was a long time ago. And there was a time when I thought, why is our government allowing this? You know, all of these animals to be bred. They're apex predators, top of the food chain, one of 4 of the most dangerous animals in the world. And yet our government is saying, okay, go buy it for a pet. Wrong. It's just wrong. So I put a bill together and brought it to my own congressman, Buck McKeon. And he was hesitant because it was a huge business at that time. It was on a par with illegal drugs, matter of fact. And I said, well, we have to do it. This is not right, and people are getting hurt, and it isn't good for the animals, and so let's just do it. And we did. He did get on board with me, and I testified for it, and the bill passed unanimously in the House and Senate, and it has been law ever since. Wow. And it has cut down the numbers of animals that have been born in the United States to be sold as a pet, you know, lion, tiger, leopard, mountain lion, whatever. And so it also caused a great deal of awareness that they are not pets, and they shouldn't be pets. They should be living out in the wild where they're supposed to be doing their job. And so I think, you know, I kind of look at that as a real goal of mine that was very successful. I'm very proud of it.
And did you have people trying to stop you from passing that and from getting that through? Did you have?
I had so many people not only trying to stop me, I was threatened. You know.
Okay.
I picked up the phone one day and there was a really nasty threat. I mean, they were going to see that I was done away with. And so I called the police, and they came over and talked to me, and you know, helped me with how we should handle the phones, handle where I went, make sure that I always had somebody with me, and yeah, it worked. I'm still here.
And who do you think those threats were coming from?
Breeders. Yeah, because it was a big business.
Right. So you're impacting their finances.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Well, good on you for having the guts to go through with that. So what would you say to people who maybe, you know, are passionate about something and are a bit hesitant about stepping up and making a difference in an area?
Well, I think that has to be within the person who has the thoughts and ideas. Do they have the guts to do it? And because, you know, these things are not easy to pull, you know, through.
And at the moment, what type of, so you said 33 big cats right now on the property. What type of cats have you got?
Lion, tiger, leopard. That's it.
Okay.
And one kitty.
One little kitty.
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp, little kitty.
I adopted the whole litter of cats about 20 years ago. And this man called me from Acton, and he said, Tippi, I've got this little, you know, batch of kittens, and I have to find homes for them. Can you help me? I said, sure. Bring them over. We have a lot of animal lovers coming through here. He brought them in a box, and he opened the box, and they all looked up at me and said, hi, Mom. And I adopted all of them, and it was the best thing. I would suggest to everybody to adopt the whole litter. And of course, you have to name them. And so I was thinking, oh, I've got all these kids. What am I going to name them? Okay. I would name them after my leading men. Rod Diller, Sean Connery, Marlon Brando. And it was just the best. It was really fun. And they lived in this house and lived out their lives. And they were so fun. They were just wonderful.
Oh, that's great. And how did Johnny Depp come to be named?
Well, after about 20 years, I lost four of them. And so I had only two left. And I was out in front, and this cat came around, and he said, black and white cat, and he came around the corner and said, hold that door open because I'm going to live in there now. I said, come on in, Johnny Depp. I've never met Johnny Depp. I have always wanted to work with him, and I'm not quiet about it, and yet he has never asked me to be in a movie with him.
Okay, not yet, but maybe
Not
after
yet.
Maybe after he watches this, who knows what might come out of this.
All right, well, bring it on. Come on, Johnny Depp. I can play your grandmother.
Well, you never know. You never know.
No, you don't. You have to put the word out.
Yeah, that's right. Put it out there. That's what we're doing right here on Animal Action TV, Facebook Live. Now, Tippi, let's talk about the Raw movie. And you were in, and Melanie Griffiths was in that as well, your daughter. And can you explain a bit about what happened? It was called one of the most dangerous films, I believe, of all time.
I believe it was. Because we used our own lions and tigers, and I think it's amazing that we all survived. It really was. Because my then husband was crazy, and he really got us doing things that were dangerous, and just the script itself was dangerous because he had humans actually were, physically involved with these animals, and it is fortunate that we survived. You can get it at different places, and I think you can order it online. It's called Roar, R-O-A-R, like the lion's roar, and there has never been a movie like it, and I don't think there ever will be another one like it.
What was the main purpose of the movie, the main message?
Just awareness of what these animals are and who they are, and of what they are capable of doing. And we could try to give an insight as to what their lives in the wild is, and how much better it is for them out in the wild where they belong.
And you were injured in that movie. Can you explain a bit about what happened there? And apparently you've still got the injury that you feel until today from that movie. Is that correct?
I was just living with these animals and having a one-on-one relationship with them. I was beaten up a little bit. We finally got smart, and I finally one day said, no more. There will be no more contact because they are too dangerous to be, to have a one-on-one relationship with them. It doesn't matter how good it is. They are lions and tigers. They have instincts that they can never take away. You can never take that away from them, and that you never know when they're going to come through. So after the last incident, I said, okay, we're done. No more. And, it was really hard on the staff because many of them really loved the animals and they had good relationships with them. And there was a lot of grumpiness around the preserve for a little while because I had taken that away from them. But it was the best thing to do and the safe thing to do because they are apex predators, as I said before. And you never know what they're going to do.
Okay. And what about some of your other film projects you've done? Have you got any particular favourites that you've worked on?
Oh, yeah. Well, with the Hitchcock films, The Birds and Marnie. And The Birds was really wonderful for me because I received the best acting lessons from Alfred Hitchcock and his wife, Alma, which was perfect because I was a model, and I had done a number of commercials in which you do act a little bit, but I didn't have any acting experience, so all of those lessons were very, very appealing to me. I loved working with them, and it gave me a whole new reason to be alive and an exciting one. And working with Rod Taylor and Sean Connery, and that was not all bad.
And I read that you went to introduce...
And Marlon Brando.
Yes, that would have been amazing. You went to introduce Alfred Hitchcock to Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, I wanted to. Yeah, I was in London. I don't remember why. But I guess it was when I was doing The Countess of Hong Kong. And the Hitchcocks came into town, so we had tea one day. And I thought, I said, Hitch, I'm doing this show with Charlie Chaplin. And he kind of raised his, and I said, wouldn't it be marvelous? I think people all over the world would love to see a photograph of you and Charlie Chaplin. Hitchcock to the set and act out all of our parts. He would become Sophia Loren. He would become my character. And as far as Marlon was concerned, of course, he was the method actor, so this was highly insulting to him.
Go back again. All right, back again. We just had a brief cut out of the Wi-Fi there. Okay, so we're talking about Charlie Chaplin and what it was like to work with him, Tippi.
And it was delightful and wonderful, and I feel very fortunate in being, I think, the only actress to have worked with both of them.
Fantastic.
Lucky me.
Lucky you. That's great. And what were some of the other highlights?
Well, she was talking a little bit about Marlon Brando.
Yes,
and how he felt about working with Charlie Chaplin.
That's right. That's right. He was.
Yeah. Well, with the method of directing of Charlie was to get out onto the set and act out all of our roles, which I loved. I mean, it was amazing watching him. I mean, he was. Best, actor of the time and director. And I enjoy watching different people and their capabilities and whatever. And it was Charlie's MO to act out all of our roles and in that way direct what we should do. Well, Marlon Brando did not like that at all. He was highly insulted and wanted to quit. Yes, he did.
Right.
And Charlie said, "You can't. You're under contract." Over and done. And Marlon just grit his teeth and...
Right.
God, it was... Yeah, I love all those things. I love all of those things that happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Fun.
And what are some other highlights of your movie career? Any particular scenes or movies that you really, you mentioned obviously Love the Birds.
Yeah, well, with the birds, the scene that I remember the most is the one where I go up those stairs all by myself. And I asked Hitchcock, I said, okay, I've read the script and I'm a little concerned. Why would Melanie Daniels go up those stairs all by herself? They are boarded into their house because the birds are out there. The whole town has been affected by the birds. And why would I go up those stairs all by myself? And he looked at me, and he thought for a while. And he said, because I tell you to. Oh, okay. It's my paycheck, in other words. I expected some profound reason.
Yeah. Funny. Great. And have you done anything in the film industry lately?
No, I haven't. I haven't done anything recently. And you know what? I really don't miss it.
Okay.
I have such an incredibly wonderful life with, the animals and with running the Shambala Preserve and the Roar Foundation, which is the financial support arm for keeping the animals here. So I've, we can move on and do other things, and I don't know what kind of a role it would take to get me back, but I'm on to other sides of my life.
Johnny Depp sounds like he might have something to do with it. If maybe we can
Yeah,
get you back with get you back with.
I can't believe he isn't out here checking on you and why are you here.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so what about being the matriarch of a family with Melanie and Melanie Griffith? Of course, your daughter is very well known, and Dakota Johnson, of course, your granddaughter now, who's doing very well. So
Indeed, she is.
So I bet you're very proud.
I am very proud, and we have such a good time when we're together. It's just absolutely glorious. And and those times aren't that often now because we're all so busy, each one of us. And right now, Dakota is in Spain, and Melanie just went over to see her, and which is great. And I'm envious because I wish I was there as well.
Yeah.
I'm green with envy.
All right. But you're in touch quite often?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, nice. So now back to Shambala again. So what does it actually take to run something like this?
A lot of money. Mm-hmm. A lot of money. So we have fundraising events, and that's basically how we stay here, and it's all donation, including my own, and but I have a staff that's wonderful, and they really care about the animals, and they really love them, and they know each one of them and because each one of them have such unique personalities. They're infinitely fascinating, always, and dangerous.
And you've even had 2 elephants here. Now that's quite an amazing story. Lynn was telling me, Lynn Santa, our mutual friend, yes, who's on the Gold Coast right now. Now, could you explain a bit about what happened with these 2 elephants? Because I was very moved when I heard this story.
Yeah, well, at one point, because we do accept animals. That's what we do here. And we received a call from Oregon, and they had an elephant there who needed a home. And so we kind of went, whoa, this is new. And one of the young men who was working for me at the time said, I would like to do this. Would you give me a chance? And he had proved himself over and over about his loyalty to the Shambala Preserve and his interest and his learning about each animal. And there was no reason why we shouldn't give him that opportunity. And it was the best thing that we did, and it was the best thing for him. It was the best thing for Timbo. And they became great pals, and then we had a cow elephant who was offered to us, and she had been in the circus and hated it so much that she heard a couple people and tore the tent down and said, I'm really not happy here. And so she came to live with us. And we never asked her to do any of her tricks that she had been beaten into learning. And we just gave her a wonderful life. And thank goodness they liked each other. And when she came in her great big van, Timbo walked to meet her. They were out on the other side of the preserve in this big lot. And she came down in this great big truck. And Timbo was way on the other side, and yet he knew there was an elephant in that truck. It's amazing.
Wow.
They can smell it, they can feel it, they can, it's awesome. And so she walked down the ramp, and Timbo walked towards her, and we're thinking, oh, please let them like each other. What do we do if they don't? I mean, our minds were just going crazy. And they did this with their trunks.
Wow.
And they turned towards each other, walked down into the field, turned towards each other again, and did one of these things.
Oh, wow.
And we thought, phew, okay. And they were inseparable. And it was a really wonderful time for me because I got to be very, very good friends with 2 of the largest animals in the world. And I loved them, and they liked me. It was a really good thing. And I'd always bring them sometimes a bushel of apples or bananas or anything, but I had to bring a lot because they're big. And one day I came in from town and stopped off to see the elephants, and on my way to see them, I thought, I didn't have a lot of goodies for them. What are they going to do? I thought I'd get, pushed away. And I thought, oh, I've got a pack of Clorets chewing gum. So I took the pack out of my bag and poured them in my hand, and I went, this is all I've got. And they both took a batch of the chewing gum and put it in their mouths, and I thought, oh, what am I going to get? And pretty soon, their great big cheeks were sucking on the Clorets, and they loved it. So from then on, I didn't have to bring the bushel of apples and, different things. All I had to have is that box of Clorets, and one day I didn't have him, and I got a body search that was unbelievable from that Timbo. He's the aggressive guy. And he said, well, okay. I said, I got him today. And all of a sudden, all over my body, in my back pockets, my pocket, my shirt, it was really embarrassing. It was very embarrassing. I never went over there to see them without at least a box of Clorets. 2 boxes, one for her and one for him.
And how old were they both when they?
Oh, they both died of old age.
Wow.
They were close to 20. Yeah.
And did they know each other from before? Do you think the 2 elephants?
Well, there was a rumor that they had met before, and in fact that they came over on the same boat from Africa, and I like to believe that story. I think it's kind of nice because there was an uncanny, immediate recognition from both of them, and I do so wish that we could speak to them in our language sometimes to really get the real story.
Mm. And when they died, did they die within a short time of each other, or
because they were very, very close in age.
Right, okay. So they lived very happy, peaceful lives till the end of their days here.
Because they had a lake in which to swim. They could go up the river, and they had a great life.
Would you consider taking more elephants in?
In a split second.
Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And Chris Galucci is still here, and they changed his life as well as he was a biker, and we kind of saved his life, really. And I'll never forget the day he came down on his great big Harley, and black Harley, and he was in black, and he had a beard and long hair, and I thought, this is going to be interesting. And he said, I hear you're looking for people to work for you, and he was asked, what can you do? He said, everything. Okay, let's see. It's true. And now he's manager of the whole place. I made him about 5 or 6 years ago.
So what about the logistics here? Like how many people do you have, helping feed the tigers?
Well, since we don't have any hands-on with them anymore, we don't need as many people.
Okay.
And, that's a loss for everybody. But there was an accident, and I said, okay, no more hands-on.
Okay.
Because you can't trust them.
Okay.
They have instinctual dictates. And I will never say that a lion or a tiger is going to be a good pet. Do not buy one or acquire one from any place.
What are the implications of people having big cats as pets? What is the damage that is done to the pets?
They're a one-man demolition crew, and even when they're young, they're very, very destructive, and they start showing their strength and the capabilities of hurting you. And so I definitely say, and I have the knowledge for all of you to listen to me, that they are not a good pet, because they can and will hurt you, and they're expensive, and most of the time it's too difficult for anybody to give them the size of an area that they are even mildly content. I mean, they should be out in the wild.
Mm. How big is your land here at Shambala?
It's about 30 acres.
And how much food does it take each day to feed each pet?
Well, each one of them eat 10 to 15 pounds, depending on their size.
And
it's meat.
What sort of meat?
It's basically beef, and it has all the vitamins and minerals in it that is that they would get if they were doing a hunt in Africa. It's really very, very special.
Okay.
And you see a uniformity of health here that's wonderful. And we hardly ever have to call our veterinarian, which is awesome.
So they're very happy.
They're healthy and they're strong and lean and. Yeah.
So what year did you start Shambala?
It was in the 70s, early 70s.
Okay.
And the preserve. I should go through all that history. Because now it's a long time. And it's been the greatest life in the world.
And what do you hope for the future of Shambala?
Well, we'll be here as long as there's an animal that needs a home. You know, I'm not a young woman, so I have staff who are totally trained to take care of these animals in the way they should be taken care of. Big areas. The tigers have water to swim in. Of course, the lake is getting smaller now because we have had no rain. And we have a little tiny river, and it's when we first started, the river was 9 feet wide, and now it's a little trickle. We need rain.
So we'll get some rain dances happening here, maybe with the
rain
natives.
Dance.
Yeah.
Let's have a fundraising event and do a rain dance. Oh, what a good idea. Everybody would come.
And your book now, how long have you been working on that book? Can we have another look at that one?
Yeah,
That's
there it is.
Beautiful.
And I had a bookmark made of the back of the book.
Nice. Beautiful.
I guess I should make a bunch of them, put them in each book.
That's great.
Yeah.
And how long did it take to write that book?
Years and years and years of living. But I started it last, I don't know, maybe February or so, something like that. And Lindsay Harrison was, she's the one I told the story to. Because I'm not a writer. I am a storyteller. And I have some great stories, but I am not a writer. And so I decided to have somebody who knows what they're doing. I told the story, and we'd sit right here. And we'd talk and talk and talk into a recorder. And then she'd go home, and she'd write, and then she'd send me what she has written. And I think she did a great job. And she didn't put anything in that wasn't what I said. And I'm very pleased with it.
So what are some of the, you've got photos in there, and what are some of the topics you cover in that book?
Oh, I start from the very kind of beginning of starts out, it's 2016 and I'm 86 years old, happy, busy, single, content, and healthy.
And you don't look at all 86, by the way. I want to know your
good.
Secrets to looking so great at your age.
Oh, I'm never going to tell.
Ah!
Never going to tell. But it starts out in Minnesota when I was born, and goes on, and I have to tell you, I have had the most incredible door, and I almost called the book The Open Door, because there have been so many open doors that I have walked through, and a lot I haven't. And it has been probably the most exciting thing about my life is just looking back and looking at those doors that were open to me. And I found to be exciting and wonderful. And that started when I was a young woman. Anyway, I have to show you one picture that always thrills me to death. There's a lot of them. Lots of them.
Coming closer here.
Here's my friend Sean.
Oh, wow.
Acting, he was performing for me while I took his picture.
Gosh, as you do, I guess, yeah.
These were the Vietnamese women that, when I was a volunteer for an organization called Food for the Hungry.
Here we go. Back on again. Okay, so we're just looking at some photos in your beautiful book.
At photos.
And this is Tippi, the book Tippi. We just looked at a few photos.
Here's my first kitty.
Oh,
Peter was his name.
I'll go a bit closer there. There we go.
And this was my little dog, Corky.
Cute.
Yeah, so cute.
Very nice.
At my first wedding, I had 3.
3 weddings.
Yeah, I like it. It's fun.
Yeah.
Good party. There's my handsome co-star.
Sean Connery.
He was showing off for me while I photographed him there.
Nice.
There's my mother and daddy.
Beautiful.
And Melanie's nanny. And this was when I was in Vietnam. I went twice to visit our servicemen. And we traveled by chopper. And we always had to fly very low over the trees so the enemy couldn't get a bead on where we were. I found that consoling. And this was a group of women that I became very good friends with in Weimar, California. They were Vietnamese refugees. And I was a volunteer for Food for the Hungry. And we had a wonderful place up near Weimar, California. It was an abandoned tuberculosis sanitarium. So there were big buildings. Everybody had their own rooms and bathrooms, and it was really wonderful for them. And we tried to find jobs for them. And this wonderful group, it was bigger than this. But anyway, they loved my fingernails, and I thought, oh, why don't I have my manicurist come up and teach them how to do the Juliet manicure? And she did. She'd come up once a week and give them a procedure to do. And
just on that topic, can we just have a close look at your nails here, because they're stunning right now? And what have they got in them, these nails of yours?
Well, they're acrylic. So that in fact, I probably need to have it done again, but that lasts 3 weeks, and I don't have to think about it, worry about it, and they always look perfect.
And they're gold.
Yeah. Yeah, 24 karat.
And 24 karat gold.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Beautiful.
And,
stunning nails.
Anyway, I became very good friends with them, and I still see some of them. There's my darling Gregory. Gregory was outside my kitchen. That's the kitchen.
Wow.
And this was set up, this picture. But Gregory, I opened the window. It was a beautiful day. And I said, "Hi, Greg." And he said, "Oh, you open a window, huh?" And I thought, well, maybe he'll put his head in and I can scratch his head and whatever. Well, pretty soon, in he flies. And he walked all over the house and looked at everything. I mean, it was like he was really looking at everything. And I have a photograph of an oriental tiger jumping down. It's a classic picture. And he went over to that. And he chuffed to it. He said, and then turned around, lifted his tail, and sprayed him. Oh, okay. So anyway, him jumping in the window was so hilarious that we made it happen again, and it was so easy.
I love it.
We just opened the window, and in he sailed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great photos.
Yeah. Let's see what else. There's Dakota Johnson. At one of our sunset safaris, we always have a celebrity come, and this was Dakota's night to be the celebrity. It was wonderful. There's a couple of birthdays. And that's when I got the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which is wonderful.
Nice.
So now everybody can walk all over me.
Yeah.
Here's my handsome. This is Antonio Banderas. When they
And
were
Melanie.
together. Yeah. That's one of my big birthdays. I can't remember which one. 75th or 80th or something.
Oh.
And here's Melanie.
Oh.
And there's my sister Patty.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great gathering.
Yes. Was.
Beautiful.
There's Dakota.
Nice. Oh, there's a lot of love there I can see.
Oh, yeah, we really like each other. Well, I love all my grandchildren. They're extraordinarily brilliant. And this is Shambala at sunset.
Beautiful.
And this isn't the winter, where the trees have no leaves, and our lake, which has diminished with this drought that we're having. Anyway.
And you had fire here recently in this area.
We did.
So what happened there? How did you work with that? How did you work with that? How did you...
Well, I'll tell you, Chris Galucci, who, this miracle man came into our lives, and he was doing such an amazing job that when our manager or whatever left, because he could get a job with more money, Chris came to me and said, "Would you give me a chance?" And without a qualm, I said, "Absolutely." And it was the best thing I could have done, because what he did was he had already known the whole preserve, every animal. He was working with the elephants, and he knew what was needed to keep Shambala safe. And he made all of those preparations. Fortunately, we hadn't had to use the fire situation until last summer, and but we were totally prepared for it. And as the authorities came and told us to evacuate. Well, we've got all those big hats. We just said no. We are going to defend, and he had made it so possible. We had all of the fire equipment. We had our own fire truck. We had these huge tanks. I've got 2 of them right in front of my house, down the driveway, and they're all over the preserve. And we defended ourselves magnificently. Didn't have to move an animal, and we stopped the fire from going into Acton.
Wow, fantastic.
So there.
Well, that's fantastic. That's brilliant. That's great to know that it was pretty smooth.
The only thing that would be almost impossible, and we have done as much as we can to stop a flood. We've built a flood wall that is gigantic, and it's concrete, and so we've done as much as we can.
Great.
Because these animals are very precious, and they need protection.
Yes. Well, you're doing a great job by the sound of it. So how did you come, back to the book again, how did you come from Minnesota to being in an Alfred Hitchcock movie, and you were a model there and you wanted to be a skater, is that right?
That's what I still do, but it's not going to happen.
Okay.
I wanted to be in the ice follies, and of course, living in Minnesota, there are 10,000 lakes, and my daddy found the money to get me a pair of ice, figure skates, and which was fabulous. And I skated out on one of our little lakes or ponds or wherever I could find the ice. And 2 of my girlfriends were taking figure skating lessons because their parents were affluent enough to be able to do that for their kids. And I didn't have that opportunity, but they invited me to come and watch them, and all I could do was sit on the side. I couldn't skate with them, but I could listen and watch, and then I'd go home to one of our lakes and practice, and that is what I wanted to be. That was a figure skater. And
then from there, and then you did modeling.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I got off the streetcar in Minneapolis one day, and this lady handed me her card and said, "Would you come down to Donaldson's department store? We'd like to have you model in our Saturday morning fashion shows." So I brought the card home to my mom, and she said, "Let's do it." And that's what started the whole thing.
So how did you then go from being in the birds or in
yeah? How did you get from there? So I was modeling in Minneapolis, and then my father became ill because the winters were very hard on him, and so they said, "Tippi, we're going to move to California." And I tell you, I almost went catatonic because all of my friends, my life was there. And you know how it is with your teenage friends, but that's what I had to do. I was young and I couldn't live by myself, so we went to California, and Mother and I, Daddy went first to get a house for us, and Mother and I took the train, and we left in the evening of, I don't know what month it was, but all of my friends came down to the train to say goodbye, and there must have been 200 from my high school.
Wow.
And I started to cry. And I cried all the way, I think, to some town in the desert from Minneapolis. I just sobbed. My mother said she couldn't stop me. I just cried and cried and cried.
How old were you at that point?
I was in junior in high school. And you know how those solidly your friends are. I mean, it's it's the best time of your life, really. And it was horrible.
Wow. And the movie industry from there, how did that all happen?
Well, that didn't happen until I became, I started modeling in Minneapolis, and then continued that in Los Angeles. And then New York was going, yoo-hoo, because that's where the center was. And so I saved up enough money to get me there. I was sitting up on the train, and for a week at the Barbizon Hotel for Women, and enough to get back if I didn't make it. And so I made it. I arrived on a Sunday, and Monday I met with Eileen Ford, and she said, sure. And she always called me the blight of her existence because I wasn't tall enough to be a model. And all of these young girls, hearing that I was modeling, they'd come to see Eileen with their pictures and everything. And she said, I'm sorry, you're too short, if that was the case. And they said, well, what about Tippi Hedren? And she said, I was constantly defending my my position, but she said there isn't that much use for a 5-foot model. There really isn't. That's all I am.
Okay.
That's all I.
So you got discovered as a model?
I did.
Yeah. Okay. And did you find acting, pretty easy to go into, or did you have to work quite hard at that initially?
That was one of those gifts as well. It was, I had been modeling for 11 years, and I had Melanie and a divorce, and, the modeling career was kind of ebbing away, so I thought, let's go back to California, Melanie, and we'll figure out something. And it was kind of a iffy time for me, because I thought, what can I do if I don't model? I don't type. What am I going to do? And I was becoming a little bit nervous about it, because I rented an expensive home, of course, in Westwood. And it was on Friday the 13th of October in 1961 that I received a call asking if I was the girl in the Seago commercial. And I was. And it was a storyline commercial where I had to act a little bit. And I said, yes, why? And the woman said, well, because there's a director who is interested in you. If you'll come and meet with us. And it wasn't until I got there that I heard it was Alfred Hitchcock, who had seen the commercial. I guess he and his wife Alma had been watching some show that the commercial was on. And she said, Hitch, you better find that girl.
Wow.
So that's how that started.
And then things snowballed from there.
It did.
Yeah, fantastic.
And now I have this.
And now you have this amazing, absolutely amazing preserve here, Shambala. So how can people help you here at Shambala? What do you need? What can people do to take action to help Shambala and to help the big cats around the world?
If possible, the best thing is to come to visit us. And you can get that information on our website, Shambala, SHAMBALA.org.
And around the world, what can people do to help big cats?
Don't take them out of their indigenous area. Do not kill them. Do not murder them. They have every right to be here, and it is getting to the point where we really have to worry about their demise. Murdering them for a head on the wall and a rug on the floor is the height of stupidity. And, if people would just think about what they're doing, and because they are diminishing in number, and we are, we could in our lifetime see the demise of the animals in the wild. And what a sad story that is. So don't, I hope that the hunters will listen to all of us who are aware of this diminishing number of wild animals and not be complicit in that action. It is murder. I mean, these animals will sometimes just look at a hunter and they'll blow him away. I just find it so unconscionable. I mean, they all have families. They have a life to live, and they have a purpose to be on this planet. It's very depressing to a lot of us that this goes on.
But good on you for doing your bit, and if we all just do our bit, we can make a difference. I do believe that. And you worked on Land of the Free too with Lynn Santa, and I believe in that documentary it said that there were more game hunters than there are actually game. Is that correct?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. She did all that research, and it's unconscionable. It's hideous. It's murder. It is truly murder. And how they can look at those animals and blow them away and put a head on the wall and a rug on the floor is, the height of unbelievability.
So, yes, check out Shambala for anyone watching this. And, of course, congratulations with your book. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful book. And, looking back at that book now, I guess you must be very proud to have a book out. But looking back at that and looking back at your life, how does it feel at this point in your life, for where you're at and looking back, what are some words to describe?
I'm just looking forward to every day to see what it's going to bring. I'm so fortunate.
Are there any sort of quotes you live by or sayings you live by or mottos that you live by that you'd like to share?
Oh, I think be true to yourself. That's I think the main thing, and be kind, be aware, be thoughtful, love the animals, take care of them, be good to the people as well.
Yeah.
The other animals.
Yeah, the human animals.
animals.
The human animals. Fantastic. And are there any final words you'd like to say? It's been so wonderful doing this interview with you, and thank you so much for your time. Any final words? And we have been chatting today with Tippi Hedren. We are at Shambala, beautiful big cat preserve here in Acton, which is in LA County. I'm Aldwyn Altuney. You've been watching Animal Action TV, and we can all do our bit to help the animals. Tippi... Here we go, back on. All right, I'm Aldwyn Altuney. I was just wrapping up an interview here with the lovely Tippi Hedren, who is the founder of the Shambala Big Cat Preserve here in Acton in LA County, and she's very well known for her work with Alfred Hitchcock and the movie The Birds that she did, and she's just put a book out called Tippi, so you can check that out in all good bookstores. Make sure you get a copy of that. Here it is again. We'll just flip over here. There it is, Tippi, and there's the wonderful Tippi Hedren right there. And thank you so much for watching. If you like what you've seen, please share it with your friends and get the good word out and help preserve the big cats so that we can have them for future generations and we can appreciate their beauty just as we can appreciate each other. Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll catch you again soon. Have a wonderful time wherever you are in the world right now. Bye for now.